Today we'll discuss what would happen in GTA 5 story if Franklin and Lamar never went through with kidnapping Dee. This video will kind of be killing two birds with one stone, since a few of you guys asked for a scenario where Stretch never went against Franklin and Lamar, and some of you asked for a scenario about Franklin and Lamar never kidnapping Dee. So why don't we make those in one video? And since this is more of a Franklin and Lamar focused storyline, this means that missions with Michael and his family remain unchanged. Things do change upon the start of the mission the long stretch though, and that deal would go along smoothly, and Franklin, Stretch, and Lamar likely would never be set up by Dee, since Stretch made peace with the Ballas, of course then preventing Dee's death entirely. This prompts further change in the storyline, specifically the mission Hood Safari. In this mission I do imagine that Stretch would go with Franklin and Lamar, but things would go really bad upon Trevor showing up at the beginning of the mission. When everyone's standing outside of Franklin's house, Stretch would start talking some shit to Trevor, and Trevor would, without a second thought, KO Stretch and beat him until his head is caved in. This means that the entirety of CGF would be after Trevor, putting Franklin in a very tough spot. Trevor would in this scenario have to go on the run way earlier compared to the original. Franklin and Lamar would fall out, as Lamar would stay more loyal to the CGF, and Franklin, not believing in the gang hierarchy, would still move to Vinewood, but unlike in the original, he would completely distance himself from everyone, including old friends like Lamar and Tanisha, choosing to focus on working with Michael and Lester instead, and things for them would be a whole lot harder without Trevor around. They'd still have to do their dirty work for Steve Haynes, they'd still have to work for Devin Weston, and Michael would still meet Solomon Richards, which is actually a good thing. Real quick though, if you're enjoying this video right now, please leave a like on it and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're trying to get to 3K subs before the release of GTA 6, and I also want to thank you guys for 2,000 subscribers. Also check out my second channel, that's where some Kingdom Hearts content is, if that's something you're interested in. Trevor would one day plan out an ambush on the CGF and try to take care of them the same way that he did with the Lost MC at the beginning of his storyline in the game. And in usual Trevor fashion, he would single-handedly wipe out the entirety of CGF in his rampage state. Unfortunately, however, Lamar would be killed in the process. Over with Michael, he's been getting more and more pressed by everyone from the feds to Devin Weston. The only thing is that he actually wouldn't have Martin Madrazo on his ass in this reality, because him and Franklin would do the mission for him instead of him and Trevor, so at least that part would go good and he would never have to go on the run. But they'd still have to do missions such as the Polito Score and Monkey Business, and with him and Trevor not really keeping in touch simply due to the fact that Trevor's on the run again, the big one would never be brought up, especially after Michael and Lester would hear about what went down with Trevor, who is known to have massacred dozens of gangsters in the Chamberlain Hills. So Michael and Lester are completely done with him, resulting in the big one of course never happening and Trevor never finding out about Brad. However, after the FIB raid, Michael's final farewell from the feds would go badly, as without Trevor there to save his ass, Michael would be gunned down by a Merryweather chopper, leaving Michael's family to flee Los Santos and Solomon Richards at the mercy of Devin Weston. Over with Franklin, it's been about a month since him and Lamar had spoken to each other, and one day he would get a knock on his door from Tanisha, who came by to inform him of Lamar's death and of the rumors that have been circling around of some Canadian friend of Franklin's was the one who killed both Stretch and Lamar. And since he recently heard about the death of two of his best friends, those being Michael and Lamar, Franklin would fall into a depressed state, blaming himself for Lamar's death. And one night he would call Lester to tell him that he's going after Trevor, but with Michael dead, Lester tells him that he's on his own. Franklin would then make a phone call to Trevor to meet him in the middle of nowhere, just like in the original's ending A. And after an intense car chase, Trevor would crash into a gas tank and Franklin would set him on fire, figuring that this is what this piece of shit deserves for killing his best friend. And with that said, I want to thank you for watching this what if. This was a pretty dark what if I do say so myself. So for next week's what if, I give you a challenge. Try to think of a what if scenario that would end with a happy ending for all of our main characters. And with that said, I want to thank you for watching this video. Leave your thoughts and opinions on this what if in the comments down below. Until next video stream, bye bye.